Well, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
God, that was so tepid. Not real excited. Tired from the day. Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, at least I'm not telling you to go, Shirley, Shirley. Okay, we'll leave Jerry Springer behind. I was asked to speak to you on the subject of praise and rewards for our kids. Sometimes, as parents, and let me say, I have had 6 children. I'm happy to announce that they're all adults, except Brandy, who's still with me, and of course counting her days till she can be gone. You know, they like to mumble under their breath, because we did it. I just can't wait to get out of here. I am so sick of her. When they're mumbling that, that's when you know that you're actually doing a good job. They are supposed to be sick of you if you're doing your job. They're not supposed to be sick of you because you're abusing them and not being a good parent. But she said to me one day, "Oh, do you have to care so much?" And that's when I was going, now where were you? And what time did you leave? And I call myself the investigator. However, it really often comes upon us as parents that it's a lot easier to criticize and make fun instead of giving the praise our kids really need. And why do they need that kind of praise and encouragement? Because they really need to feel good about themselves. Well, we all need to feel good about ourselves. And as parents, it starts when they're like really young. So, I mean, do you really hear people holding a baby going, "Oh, you're so ugly"? No, I mean, when they're little, you're saying like really sweet things, like, "Oh, look at the little baby, ooty, ooty." Those people do that. I have never heard anybody go, "You so ugly." Now, when they get a little bit older, because that's when they start talking, and we call it talking back, because then they start having some ideas of their own.
Yeah.
And that's when we're not so quick to give them praise, because they're conflicting with what it is we're trying to do. But the child who has had praise is the child who is going to be much easier to work with, because they're feeling good about themselves. Now, what are the kinds of things that we give them praise about? How about, remember when they first were learning to walk, and they stumbled, taking those little steps? Most times there was somebody on the other end with hands out going, "Come on, come on," and everybody's excited when baby's taking its first step. Nobody is saying, "If you don't sit your butt down," we're encouraging them. So just like we encourage them with first steps, sometimes it's hard to remember that as they go through life, because they're always pretending they know everything. Does anybody have somebody at their house who knows everything, knows more than you do? When you try to tell them something, you can watch them tune you out, and then you say, "Did you hear what I said?" But if you were giving praise, they definitely hear what you say. Now, what are we praising them for? Well, I think that a day should not pass by when our kids have really done something that deserves praise. Because I'll bet you just about everybody in this room, including me, can think of a day when they all deserve some criticism, right? I don't know about your house, but my house, the dishes are always still dirty after they got washed. Opportunity for criticism. It's always there. But if you become the critical parent that is always criticizing, you are raising a kid who is also always criticizing and cannot find the good that's going on. So, I mean, I say that, but believe me, I'm not going through the dish drain going, "Oh, this is wonderful, there are 14 clean dishes and 36 dirty ones." You know, so let's not get ridiculous about this. we find things that our kids are doing that are really worthy of praise. So what are those things? Well, I brought with me, how many people had kids who went to preschool, even in kindergarten, you know, and they make those funny looking little pictures. Sometimes they bring us the little pictures and we're busy doing something else. And what do? We go, oh, and you continue to look at the TV show, oh yeah, put it over there, and they never see it again, you never see it again, so you've never really paid any attention to it. It's really very simple. Everybody know where the 99-cent store is?
Yep.
Oh, I was going to say, okay, come on now. Okay, we know the 99-cent store. You know that aisle where they have paper and pencils, stationery kind of supplies? They also have picture frames, 99 cents. Okay, so a worthy piece of your praise could simply be to take one of those little pictures that you all went, oh God, not another one, and put it in a frame. And your little kid thinks, wow, they were really proud of my work. Now maybe you were, and maybe you weren't. There's a lot we do as parents. I just say we're sort of like actors and actresses. You know, because every time they come up to tell you something, you don't really want to hear it. Yeah, and then Daddy, and then it's like, oh. And then Mommy, it's like, oh. But you have to go, oh, really? And you have to encourage them to tell you more. Now, come on, we've all got a friend, I know it, because I do, who tells you a bunch of stuff you don't really want to hear. And you're bored and you tune the friend out. Well, so your kids, but you don't tell them that. You don't go, look, I don't want to hear this crap. I've heard it from you before. Just shut up. You don't do that to your friend, do you?
I got about 10 of them.
And do you tell them to shut up?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you don't belong in the class. So, we have to go along with these little things that our kids do. Okay, so we got this long about preschool and got a frame and said, then she always had lots of little drawings. And it's like, they can't all get in a frame. So they don't all get in a frame. But this one hangs in the kitchen. And for all these years, you know, we acted like it was the perfect drawing. Well, every one of our kids is an individual. Well, I always say they're, you know, pretty much the same pattern. Because when they get to be 13, they're pretty much doing the same thing. When they're 2 years old, they're pretty much doing the same thing. And that's in general. But individually, every one of your kids has some kind of talent. And when you don't praise these little things, you're going to miss what the talent is. And your kid's talent is not what her kid's talent is. Your kid is an individual. And you have to see your kids as individuals. They are not who Miss Romero's kids are. They are not who Miss Jones's kids are. They are your kids. And it is our job to know what our kids are actually capable of. So we're going to give them praise. And what does this praise come in the words of? I was asked to also talk about rewards. Now, a lot of parents, including my daughter who has 2 sons, believes rewards ought to be a piece of candy. Glad you rolled your eyes. Why would you reward somebody with something that's not good for them? A reward is not a piece of candy because I asked you to pick your clothes up off the floor and you picked them up, and so Mommy's going to give you some candy. Daddy's going to give you some candy. Rewards, in my opinion, have to be something that we create for our children by teaching them a philosophy. They need to be doing that. I am not giving you any reward from picking up your clothes off the floor, because that's what you ought to be doing. And I believe that we need to teach our children some kind of value system. I am not going to pay you to do your chores. I am not going to encourage the neighbor for paying you for feeding their dog when they go on vacation. Because that's what I think our kids ought to be doing. So where do the rewards come? Well, rewards come in my house in very special treats. So if you're not always giving your kids, and I don't believe in always giving, because I don't know about you, but generally, the more you give, the more they want. The more you spend, you haven't spent enough. They don't seem to get the value of things. So it is our job as parents to help our children understand that there is a value system that works. So when it comes to rewards, I think something like a special treat, a real special treat, something that they're not going to get all the time. But when do they get this reward? Well, do they get it because they came home with good grades from school? My opinion is they ought to be making good grades in school, and we ought to be working with them to help them do that. So when do the rewards come? I think rewards can come as a very big surprise. Nobody anticipated it. It just happened. Maybe tickets to something very special that they help save their money toward, and you save some money toward, and now it's a real reward. It's something we can look forward to. It's something we didn't anticipate. Before I keep going, I want to show. What do we have in there? Oh, the final results. This got a lot of praise at the age of maybe 4 at preschool. And we kept on going. Keep up your art, keep up your art. Some of it was, well, she says that's really ugly. We thought it was kind of cute. But, so she still does art. And now we don't have to fake the praise. Because she's at PCC. We bring it. This is her final project. But this isn't because, just because, it's because you really have to pay attention, you know, to what your kids do. And how was I to know I'd get to show it off? I'm going to pass it around, but hold it like that because it's so very detailed. You don't want to see it? No. So we have to encourage our kids, and I can't say that enough. Everybody who wants their son to be a basketball player, maybe he's not really good at playing basketball, even though that's what you want. Often we as parents, hit a nerve over there in the corner. Okay, wait, I don't know anybody in the class, so I'm not picking on you. I am just saying the things in general. And we often do for our children what we think would be, well, no, not necessarily best, because if we did that, we'd be listening to them. But often what we do is what's best for us. We're all looking for bragging rights. How did I know I was going to get to bring the picture with me? No, seriously, we tend to look for bragging rights, and how many would love to say their son was Kobe Bryant? So we're not listening, and we're not following what it is. Now, that's not to say that some things that our kids want to do with their lives are what we want to support and praise. Yes?
So, you know, I'm sure we all have children that are, you know, in activities, and how can you really tell? Sometimes they're doing it because they want to do it, sometimes they're doing it because they want to please us. And how can you really tell? You just got to look at the enthusiasm level, or what are you looking for?
Sometimes kids will say to you,
Well,
right up front, I don't really want to do this. And I will tell you, I've had lots of, I have 5 kids, and, you know, you see them involved with something, and you think, as the parent, that's, you know, really what they want to do and really what's good for them, and then you begin to watch them not do it, and you think to yourself, I drug you to all those lessons. I paid my, and what do I hear now? Well, that's what you hear now. And it is my idea that you should pay attention to what you're hearing. And from time to time, you should check with your children before you drag them to all those lessons and before you put in all that money. But I do believe that we should expose our children to a wide range of activities so that we're able to discover. And we need them to help us discover. Are there any other comments or questions? Because sometimes I just start
I
ranting.
had a question.
Okay.
Because you were expressing that you don't believe in rewarding for grades and everything. How do you feel about allowances?
Oh, I think children should have allowances.
Oh.
Because if children don't have allowances, they're not going to learn how to. They don't know how to work with money. They know how to spend your money. But when they start having to spend their money, they get a little different. So yeah, I think they should have, most certainly, an allowance.
So what should you allow them to spend their allowance?
Say that again. When should you allow them to spend them?
To spend their allowance? When you give them their allowance, will you wait until they do something that's good, or, will you just give them their money and let them go?
All we're gonna wanna do is spend what they
Okay.
have, man.
Okay. They didn't ask me to talk about money and budgets, but I talk about what people ask me.
Thank you.
Because that's what's important to them. Your kids having money is the opportunity of a lifetime for them to learn about money. Now this means, I'll tell you how I work it, this means there has to be a budget. They don't just get the money. They have to show where the money is going to go. And as parents, that's what we ought to be doing, but okay, let's be honest, not necessarily. But children need to have a budget. They need to understand where the money's going to go, and some part of that allowance should be saved. So you have to give them enough in the allowance that they have enough to save some money, they have enough to do dumb stuff with money, they have enough to do something that's essential. Now, when they spend up their money, oh well. And that's what you have taught them. They cannot run back. Oh yeah, I wanted to. Like, well, how much money do you have? Well, I only got $3 left. Yes, you gotta wait till next month, whenever allowances come out. But if they don't learn that, they're gonna be in as much trouble as most adults are nowadays. There was a question over there. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, and then I'll call you.
You were talking about not rewarding for like grades and things like that, and the way I set up allowance was our oldest son, he gets $5 every Friday when I see his report card showing that all 5 days he's done well in school and all his homework has been turned in. So that's it's sort of like allowance salary.
Based on.
Based on, yeah, if he doesn't get all green, then I subtract.
Okay. Well, let me say this. Next week I'm coming back to talk about your parenting style. And you have to recognize whenever you listen to the experts, you have to say to yourself, for your own household, you may have something that you've already put in place that does work. Or you may have something that doesn't work, and you're wondering how to make it work. So what you have to do, and I say this is about anything, you listen, and you go, well, how will that fit in to who I am, who my household is, and how can I work it? Because, of course, people have systems. They weren't just sitting waiting to come tonight to go, oh, yeah, okay, Ms. Smith, don't tell us what to do. People in here have devised some plans of their own. Your plan may not be working, and so what you hear me say, you go, okay, I can fit that in. No, I'm not going to try that. So, yes, she has a plan, and her plan is based on her kids' grades. But she is a kid that's getting good grades. Some people have kids who are getting very poor grades. So it would be very difficult to base an allowance system on their grades. And we don't know why they're getting bad grades, but there could be many reasons. And so they should not be penalized, as I see it. And then, see, kids are very clever. So we experts come to what we come from many experiences. You see, my father used to give us well, okay, it was 1,000 years ago, but it was 50 cents for every A we got on our report cards.
50
So,
cents.
well, this was 1,000 years ago, okay? 50 cents went a long
It's like
way.
gas.
Bubble gum was a penny. Gasoline was 19 cents,
That's what I'm
okay?
talking about.
All right? But anyway, he gave us 50 cents. So what my sister and I did, and what we have to recognize, our children are very clever. They are always trying to outsmart us. So, what my sister and I would do at the semester when we got our report cards, we would make up some additional ones. Dad never saw the real report card.
No way.
Okay, I mean, everybody's trying to sit in here like they're a goody-goody. Everybody in here knows they had some
That
trick
one, though.
on their parents. And if you didn't, I am surprised. But yeah, so, you know, we divvied up, because I think in those days in high school, you had 6 classes, so my sister and I, you know, would divvy up, 3 A's over here. So, I base a lot of my expertise. I'm not an expert by books. I'm an expert by raising 6 kids. I'm an expert because I spent 15 years on welfare. I'm an expert, like most experts you won't find. I know of which I talk, okay? Okay, you had a question. You forgot! She's not even 7. Okay, right?
So what is it that you based your allowance off of? I mean, was it just something they got every month, or was it based upon something?
No. Well, it's based upon my budget in terms of what I can afford. It's based upon what I expect them to do with their allowance. Now, if you have a small child, there's not a wide range of things they need to do. But in your head, in my head, I make the determination what it is that needs to be done, what their age is, and I give an allowance proportionately. I do not take away from the allowance as a punishment. That is their money, and I want to see them be very foolish with it. Because the more foolish they are, the less they ask me. Because they had their money. And if they want to goof it up, that's the only way I saw my 5 kids learning. And they all do very well. Well, it's not true. Oh, we've got the one who's got too many credit cards, who spends them up, who then gets in trouble. And that's our society. But I just feel as parents, it is pretty much our job to prepare our kids for society. And just spending doesn't work for most of us. I saw another hand up. Oh, you're just leaning on the door. Sorry. Let me see, I don't remember where I was. Constant interruptions, isn't that like home? Oh. Well, I'm through. No. Oh, he's not here to rescue me. Oh, okay. The concept of, and this is just kind of the wrap up, the concept of praise is to make our children feel good about themselves. The concept of rewards is to help our children understand that there is something that comes their way from having done the right thing. In life, rewards don't always happen at the time you do it. So, yes.
So you shouldn't give them, like, my old lady, her daughter, she just gives her ice cream, candy, even if she ain't done nothing. You know what I'm saying? Even as soon as I come home from work and I fall asleep, the baby's in there eating on the sucker or something, then as soon as I wake up, she come knocking on the door, can I have this? and then she comes in before I get ready to go to bed talking about, can I have dessert? I was like, what was all that you just had? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just like, I don't know. I think she need to come down here to these classes too. She's at home right now with the baby, but you know.
It's a baby?
Well, I have one by her, and she has one that I'm taking care of.
Okay, but is this baby that you're calling baby an actual baby, or
No,
you
she's
just call it a baby
the one
and
I'm
it's
talking about is
13?
8 years old.
Oh,
She's the one that she knocks on the door. I mean, every time she knocks, it's, you know, she wants ice cream, she wants cookies, she wants, you know, she wants.
Is she overweight? Is she husky?
No, she's, you know, she about this tall. But
no, it's how wide is she?
she's got a, you know, I mean, she's got a, you know, she dances, she sings. Her mother's a singer, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, she's good in school too. But I mean, seems like to me she get too many, you know. That's another thing. She got bad teeth too. You know what I'm saying? Her mama still.
It's inevitable with all those sweets.
Yeah.
Life as a parent, as a head of a household, means you have to establish some kind of philosophy for your house. Some kind of
But what
value
can you
system.
do when you sleep?
Well, in your case, wait, and I'm not a marriage and family counselor, okay?
You know, sometimes when I
But-
go to work.
But, you know, this is a double duty something, you know, it's not just the mother, it's not just the father, but there has to be some kind of logical discussion. If this bothers you, have you said this to the mother?
I discussed it with her as soon as I fall asleep. I see the.
I guess
So look,
your butt needs to stay awake.
My eyes start
No
waking up,
more
I see the
sleep.
baby going
No
out
more,
the room.
no more sleep.
Well, I mean, even if I go outside to water the grass, I come back, she's already in the room. Soon as she hear me coming to the door, she
Look,
she
this
breaking
is how
her to
I
the living
believe
room.
households have to be run. It's either you in charge or the kid in
Well,
charge.
you know what? I'm
It
not in
appears
charge.
to
I just
me-
pay the bills. You know, what I'm saying is that the mother still agree on everything. Oh yeah, you right this, you right. And then as soon as I leave out, if somebody come by or I go out to fix one of my cars, as soon as I come back in, the baby's sitting in there, you know, smiling, you know. And then every time I come, I swear to God, every time I come in the door, she like, hi, Kenny. You know, she want to give me a hug every time. I'm like, why you giving me all these hugs? It's because her mama's giving her that candy, and she's just, you
But
know.
okay, here's the real issue here. In every one of your households, well, some of you are single parents, so you don't have to deal with what the other half is allowing. But for those of you who are in a double parent household, somebody has to establish what the rules of engagement are going to be. Now, some of you may figure that your spouse gets to call all the shots and then let it be and stop complaining. However, if you truly believe that this needs to stop, then you truly need to be the person who stops it. Now, you've already
But how
talked
can
about...
you do that without
Ah,
getting mad at her? I mean, you know, as soon as I say something to her, then she gonna get mad at me, and then I'm in the doghouse for the rest of the night.
Well, you know, that's going to be something you have to work out. I can't work it out because if you ask me, I will tell you that the doghouse is not going to be as expensive as your dental and your health bills.
That's right. That's right.
So you have the opportunity to establish what ought to be. Now, I will tell you, at 8 years old, if the child is already seeing to it that the mother does what she wants, you got real trouble ahead by 18.
That's what I'm saying. I can see it coming.
Well, are you just going to sit there and watch it come?
Well, I mean, you know.
I came to one, I've been doing parenting classes for about 15 years now. And about a year ago, I said, you know what? I have come to the conclusion that parents would rather tell the horror story and the drama of it all rather than put a stop to it. And you're in that category.
Yeah, but, you know,
No,
it's
because you
not
can
just-
take all
it's
that
not
crap
just
out of the
though.
refrigerator. Okay, enough on that one.
Okay.
Is there any other question? Okay.
I have a newborn at home.
Did you what?
I have a newborn.
Oh,
at
how
home.
perfect.
And just wondering with praise and whatnot. I mean, I'm obviously doing the whole "you're the cutest baby in the world"
Of
thing.
course, of course.
Of course. But when do they start? When does that actually start affecting them? You know, the praise.
Right now.
Oh,
I've had the experts by the books tell the stories of rubbing pregnant stomachs and talking to babies. There is a Chinese woman whose child is what do they call them when they're totally gifted? Plays the piano. But at any rate, he played the piano from the time he crawled up to the piano and began playing symphonies. And she was interviewed. She said when she was pregnant, she went to every symphony there was.
Oh.
She played nothing but symphonies at home, and she rubbed her pregnant stomach. So, I mean, you're not pregnant anymore. But I'm saying that to say that, how do I know? No, I don't know. There's no beginning, there's no end. You just have to treat your kids good, say good things to them, even when they're driving you crazy. You just have to operate with that praise. I'm not so sure on the rewards, but the praise is, you operate with it. I mean, how many of you look for praise? I mean, if you do something decent, yeah.
I like praise.
Yeah, don't we all? Even though when we go, I didn't deserve that, but yeah, okay. Oh, they've given me something. Stop what you are doing while making eye-to-eye contact with the child. This gets the child's attention and lets the child know that you are interested in what he's doing. Oh, well, you're taking these home, so they have these?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what we talked about. You know, when you're busy looking at TV and you're like, It's okay. You have these. They probably aren't what I covered, but there's something else for you to think about. Yes.
You know how you say you don't praise the grades and stuff? Like, you know,
Oh, no, I didn't say I didn't praise the grades.
No, but I mean-
I said I'm not gonna give you money for them.
how
Yeah.
about when they get like a special like honor roll or like the principal's award or they get medals for being super.
Well, you know what I do? I put them in a plaque and I hang them on the wall. And well, I mean, she asked. When people come, they go, oh, did she do this? Oh, did she do that? We've got a wall full of plaques. I'm not paying you. That's another thing you can do, and you can find them at the 99-cent store. They have those reward like certificates, and you fill it in. Billy Joe passed 3rd grade. Put it in a nice frame. Present it at dinner time one night. Have a special cake. That's something special, and it's something unique that you thought of.
Ashley has a question.
Yes,
What is the allowance for?
Like,
for them to learn how to spend money.
When do they get the allowance? Like, what do they do that's so great for them to get money? Because if it's not grades and it's not honor roll and it's not cleaning up your clothes, then what is it?
It's not a reward.
So you just slap it on them. Like,
My real purpose of giving an allowance, and every household is going to be different. My purpose of giving an allowance is to help my kids learn what to do with money. Because as long as they're coming to you and going, yeah, I need to buy some boots.
money management.
It's money management.
When do you start giving allowance?
When do I start giving allowances? I think probably around the age of 5 or 6. Not as much, because they don't have as much to do with it. But it's like we're all going to the movies. Well, you and your friend they don't have the ice cream trucks that come by anymore. But, you know, don't ask me to run out to the ice cream truck. Do you have some money? They just stay out of my money.
Can we take money from, like, I have a almost 3-year-old, but he's he has like a wall, like big water bottle full of like money.
Okay, he's been saving money.
Like, $1 tools and stuff. Whatever, I'm just joking. Anyway, so like, can I take money out of his?
As long as you don't tell him, yeah. Keep on spending.
He's not more money in his thing than I do my bank account, so I can use his money for him.
Well, okay, look. First of all, if he's a little young, but when you have kids who are a little older, they need to be keeping track of their money. Now, that's not to say that we as parents don't get kind of short of cash around the house and go creep into the drawer. But see, she ought to be counting her money, and she needs to be saying, wait a minute, didn't I have, and then you got to be honest and go, oh yeah, I had to borrow $5. I will tell you something else it does. I tell you something else it does in your house. Because all of us have probably had the experience, because it's a learning opportunity, of kids thinking wherever you keep your stash, they can come help themselves to your money. Yeah, well, it's payback time.
Yeah.
Remember that $10 I was missing and you didn't know about?
Right.
I didn't take your money. Oh, yeah, right. The cat got it, but okay. So it does a lot in a household when your kids are required to spend their money. I give a budget for back-to-school shopping. It's like, okay, it's time for back to school. Find out what you don't have in your drawer. Find out what you need. How much do you think you need for back to school? Now, if they get outrageous, they're not going to get that, but, you know, I give it. Now, if you want to run down to the shoe store and spend $200 on some boots, don't talk to me about you don't have any sweaters. So they learn. And believe me, they learn.
I mean, but nowadays it's like clothes are outrageous.
Then they don't get any money for clothes. Thrift stores are still there.
That's right.
Hey, folks don't want to face it. Thrift stores are there and hand-me-down clothes still work. I didn't say anything about shopping at Macy's. And nowadays, folks don't even have a budget to get to Target. See, that's something else. A lot of people don't want to say to their kids, I don't really have any money. I've never understood this. Well, I don't want my kids to know we're broke. Well, they're probably the reason you're broke. Stop. You need to stop. She wanted boots. We went to the boot store. First walked in, the first one she saw were $119. Ooh, these are the ones I like. I was like, honey, you don't have to look around the store. Mumbling under her breath. Bring me shopping and then go put me on a budget. I think she found some $59 ones. But your kids ruin your financial position, and you know it. Now, we're not going to talk about Christmas and your shopping, and should you be shopping, because my time is up. But I'll be back next week, and if you'd rather talk about budgets, I'll talk about budgets.
What was the planned topic?
The planned topic, they told me, is parenting, individual parenting life styles at home. And that can include budgets. But budgets are very important. I do a workshop on your kids, your money. And you're not going to spend my money. And I know you're still buying cute little baby outfits. I did that.
Yes, I am.
I know. Didn't we all do that with the first one?
Yeah.
And everything had to match.
Yeah.
Some little booties and a little hat, even the blanket wrap. By the time you've had 6, you're calling your friends to see what they have left over that the baby didn't spit up on. You don't care whether it matches. Just put that baby in some clothes and get out of here. No. I mean, we're broke. How many in here aren't broke? If you're not broke, you're next to broke, okay? And if you're not, your cousin is. So when it comes to spending money, everybody's broke. I see people at the 99-cent store who've never been there before. Have the rest of you? And they look so funny, don't they? And they're trying to pretend they're still in Macy's. It's the 99-cent 99-cent store. And you know what? They buy the wrong stuff. Have you noticed? I mean, if you're regular 99-cent store shoppers, you know what not to buy. Don't buy any gardening tools. Because when you stick that little shovel in, you're going to have the handle and the shovel still in the dirt.
You're right about that.
Yes. So you see all these new people there, and it's funny to watch them. Okay, I have run my mouth longer than I was supposed to. Your group would like next week, am I correct, to do more about money.
More about money?
Your kids, your money.
Oh, that's your expertise, right?
Okay.